Everywhere we go now in mainline denominations, we hear about how the church is in decline. And I really think that the future of the church hinges upon us being attentive to the world around us, being really engaged in the community, really knowing what is on the hearts and minds of the people, not only in our local communities, but in our states and in the world. And we at St. George's, I feel blessed that I'm a part of a community that isn't in decline, but is really vibrant and engaged. Still, when we do things like one of these public advocacy kind of events at the church, the number of people that participate in those events far surpasses an average Sunday attendance at any given service. And that's because we're doing something that's really meaningful, something that really matters to people. And I think that we need to pay attention to that reality. I think the future of the church rests on us being agents of the gospel in other ways other than our Sunday morning worship. So I think there are measures that we should consider as we're choosing issues. I think that we can ask ourselves when we're advocating, are we advocating for individuals or groups that Christ specifically calls us to serve? The poor, the hungry, the stranger, the imprisoned, the outcast. Mm-hmm. Are those for whom we're advocating lacking other voices to speak on their behalf? Are secular interests overlooking them? Is the work that we're about to embark on consistent with our baptismal covenant? I think that's a measure that becomes important. And can we see examples of similar kinds of advocacy in Jesus' own life and ministry, like his healing of the lepers or recognizing the dignity of the woman at the well? There are all kinds of things that we can measure our decision-making against.
Great list. We've tried to hone down or to focus on certain strategic goals that we would provide most of our leverage for in the State House and in our communities, and they relate to human trafficking, gun safety, death penalty, and the opportunity gap that faces all our children. And part of what when we chose those, it was we discerned that people in our churches were already engaged in these things, so that it wasn't just kind of a top-down, the bishop saying, these are our priorities, you all get on board. It was more like, that quote, I guess Gandhi said it, there go my people. I got to go lead them. I mean, there was already kind of a movement in these things, and I felt like that feels like that's evidence of the Holy Spirit guiding a body of Christians, of faithful people, not just Christians, but Christians among others, who already have discerned where the main thrust of their advocacy is going to go, so that we don't, God bless the baby eels, but we're not. There is that other passage that Jesus says that what general is going into war doesn't count the cost and doesn't, first figure out what's winnable. Where can we have leverage, and where are we going to just squander resources that may be right and good and noble, but not as right and good and noble as something else. So there's that constant sort of discernment that goes on.